Hello guys, welcome back to a new tutorial. Today I'm going to be showing you guys how to do these really cool car advertisements. They do look pretty cool, and yeah, I'd probably only use white and black for these themes. I don't think they look good in any other colour. And you'll see for this advertisement I actually changed the car from a red to a white. So yeah, I'll show you how to do that. And yeah, let's get into it. So first off, what I'm going to do is going to go to File, New, and you can just copy all this down. The 1920 by 1080 is kind of my default advertisement dimensions, just because they're reasonably big and they kind of fit most things, and I can just resize it if I wanted to. So yeah, once you've done that, just press OK. And the first thing that we're going to be doing is by making the corner of the shadow in the background that kind of represents this is the floor and this is the ceiling. Oh, not the ceiling, the wall. Sorry. So what I would do is, to do that, I go to my shape tool, click and hold, and go to rectangle. And right off the start, I want to change my fill to a black. So just find black right there, and we don't want a stroke. So if you have a stroke, just click there and then click on this icon right here. And yeah, now we can just make rectangles freely. And yeah, so this is what we're going to be doing to make the corner of the room. So first off, what we're going to be doing is just clicking and dragging. And you don't want it to be too tall, otherwise it won't be realistic. But I think that would be good enough, just like that. And then you can see that we've got a regular rectangle going across the whole page. And what we're going to do is we're going to press Command J to duplicate that, and just press Command T, and then we can just resize it. And if you hold Alt while you drag, then it will do it from both sides. It will resize from both sides instead of you having to do one at a time. And yeah, so once we've done that, you can see that we have got two rectangles here. And yeah, so we're going to hide the top one for now. And what we're going to do is we're going to select our our larger rectangle. Then we go to Filter, Blur, Gaussian Blur, and then we're going to click Rasterize. And then we're just going to find something just to make it look like a bit of a realistic shadow. I think 27.5 would be good. And so now we've done that, we can show our smaller rectangle again, and now you can see that you can kind of see it there just amongst the blurred rectangle that we had before. And now once we now that we selected our smaller rectangle, just go to Filter, Blur, Gaussian Blur, Rasterize again, and we're just going to do a bit less this time. Yeah, okay, I think that's good. So now what we're going to do is we're going to hold Shift and select both of our layers, just like that. And now we can just lower the opacity of the rectangles, and I think I might actually lower the opacity of the smaller rectangle a bit more, just to make it a bit more realistic. And yeah, so just do whatever looks real for you. Obviously the idea is to make it look realistic, so you can do whatever suits you there. And yeah, so now we've done that, I might merge the two. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold Shift, select them both again, and then press Command E, and now you can see that they are now in one layer. And now I'm going to erase the sides. So I'm going to press E on my keyboard so that I can get the eraser tool up. I can then right click, and then I can change the size and the hardness, or I could just use my square bracket keys in order to change the size of the brush like that. And then I'll just erase the sides. You don't want to do it too much, I suppose. You might want to zoom out a bit more. You do want it to be the same on both sides though, so you make sure you do that. And yeah, I think that's good. So what I might do now, I might lower the opacity of that just a bit more, and there you go. You can see that it kind of looks like the corner of a room, and yeah, it's starting to look pretty cool. So now what I might do is I might press Command T, and now you can see that we got our transformation tool up, what we can do to resize it and all that. We can make it a bit thinner if we wanted to, so I might just do that just like that. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag a ruler down. So if you don't have these rulers across the sides of your Photoshop document, you want to press Command R, and you can see they show and they hide just like that. And I'm going to drag down just so it's centered with the shadow. And now we can always see the where our shadow is, well, like how when the floor starts. That's what I'm trying to say. This line is basically where the wall and the floor meets, and this is a really easy way of presenting that. And that will become really helpful when we start to add these lines, as you can see here. And yeah, so we're going to do that now. So to add the lines, we're going to go to our rectangle tool right here. The fill doesn't really matter. The stroke, you don't really want a stroke, so make sure there's no stroke. And yeah, the fill doesn't matter. And we're just going to click and drag down. We're just going to find the right width that we want for our design. So I think that would be good enough, just like that. And then you just want to duplicate it over, just like that.
but to make sure it's equal from the center on either side, what you want to do is you want to go to our background tool, you're going to double click on it, just so this window pops up, press OK, and now you can see that it is unlocked. So what we can do now is press Command T, and then we'll have our transformation tool open again. Then we can go to our rulers, just click and drag inwards, just like that, and now we have our center point for our design, and you can literally, this is the center of the whole document, and now we can align everything towards that. And yes, so what we're going to do now is we're going to go to our rectangle tool again, and what you want to do is you're going to click on your shadow, because if you want to click on the if you have your rectangle selected and then change the color, it will actually change the color of the fill, and we don't want that. So you want to make sure that you have your rectangle tool selected, then go to the middle and just click and drag towards one of the stripes, and now we're going to change the color. We can change it to yellow, just something that will stand out. And yeah, so now that we've done that, we can now tell the difference, I mean the distance from the center to this stripe. So now what we can do is we can just drag this over and then make sure they're the same. And you can see this one's a bit closer, so we can just drag this out and make them meet, and there you go. You can see that they are now both equally apart, and yeah, it looks better that way. And yeah, so now we've done that, we're going to select both of our rectangles again. We're going to press Command J to duplicate them both, and we're just going to hold Shift and drag down, just so it drags straight down. If we don't hold Shift, we can just go wherever. If you hold Shift, it will be a straight line just like that. And you kind of want the ends to meet, just like that. So you can see that the top of the bottom lines meet the bottom of the top rectangles. So now that we've done that, we are going to make sure that we still have the bottom one selected. If you haven't clicked, then you should still have them selected. Then go to Edit, Transform, and Perspective. Now what we're going to do is we're going to zoom out just so you can see the full box, and then you're just going to drag these out just like that. And you can see that it really adds the perspective element to the design. And yeah, you can see that we're really getting to, it's really starting to look like this design. And yeah, so now that we've done that, we are going to add the gradients that you saw on the rectangles. So we're going to start off by doing these top ones. So what you want to do is you want to double click on the rectangle, go to gradient overlay, and I kind of want it to be darker at the bottom and then kind of fade out. So what I might do is I might make this one darker. So the first point darker just by double clicking on it, just like that. And then I want this one to be a full white. And yeah, so I think it looks good. If I wanted to, if you just press OK on this screen, you can literally just drag down the gradient. And yeah, so you don't want it to completely fade out, it's because we still want the grade to cover a good portion of the stripe. So okay, I think that's good enough. I think the gradient is doing pretty well there. So what we're going to do now is right click on this layer, then go to copy layer style, and then paste it onto the other rectangle layer that we have. So right click, paste layer style, and you can see that we have the same gradient on both. And yeah, so that's what we're going to do so far. And so now what we're going to do is we're going to double click on the first bottom stripe. So just double click, go to gradient, and then as you can see it will already have the previous gradient that we used on here, but as you can see it's actually lighter in the middle, whereas it's darker on the outside, which is not what we want. So just going to click reverse, and there you go, you can see that it's already reversed it pretty much. And then you can just drag up, and just like we did on the other one, and just now we can just press OK, just like that. Now we can copy this layer style for this rectangle and then paste it on this one. There you go. Now you can see that we have both we have the gradients on both the stripes. And yeah, so now that we've done that, we're going to click on our rectangle on the, well, it doesn't really matter which one you choose, but you can start on the right one. And we're going to go to our eraser tool, just like that. You just want to click once, and then it will ask you if you want to rasterize it. Just press OK. And now you just want to click. You don't want to click and hold just because you don't want to erase too much of it, but you just want to click so much that it kind of goes into a fade, and it will look really cool. And as you can see, you might have noticed this kind of step in the corner here. It doesn't really matter at the moment, just because this is where the car is going to go, and you won't see that at all. So yeah, we're just going to continue to erase the ends of the stripes just so it goes into a fade, like I said. So we're just going to keep clicking, keep rasterizing them, just like that. And then okay. Okay, so now you can see that we have basically set up our Lightroom. You might want to move your shadow to the top. Sometimes that can look really cool. Now you can see that we've actually added the shadow on top of the stripes, and it looks more realistic that way as well. So now you need the picture of your car. So what I do is I'll go to Google Images just like this, type in the model of your car, and then make sure you put the front, because if you don't get the front, then you get all kinds of views, and just like you want side-on views, and yeah, we don't really want that. So if you put in front, you get a nice front view, which will look best for these kind of advertisements like this. You can try a side-on view, but they might not look as good. So once we've imported our photo, I would use our pen tool, which is right here, and then I'd go around all the way around the outside of the car. But I'm not going to do that in this tutorial just because it will take too long, and I have actually already done it, as you can see here. But yeah, so once you've pen tooled your car, just like that, oh, let's close this. What I do is I make the car white, like you can see in this example. So what I do is I go to the car that has been cut out, and I would press Command U, and then I'll lower the saturation right down to -100, and as you can see we got a grey car now, and it's already closer to white. So what I do now is go to our brightness and contrast in our adjustments. If you don't have this tab open, just go to Window and Adjustments right there, and then I just click brightness and contrast, the very first icon there, and then I'll just increase the brightness until we get the outcome that we are looking for. So I think I'll increase mine right up to 150, which is the max, and then what I do is I'd select both layers and press Command E, and then that would merge them, and now you can see that we've turned our car from red into white, and it's really that easy. And yeah, it will really work a lot better that way with our advertisement. So what we're going to do is we're going to click and drag it in, and now we can press Command colon, and that will show our guides again, if you can hide them and show them that way. And now we can press Command T and just click and drag it in, just make it a bit smaller, and make sure they hold Shift and Alt just so you don't resize it, like this, because you don't really want that, and it can start looking pretty weird. So yeah, just make sure you hold those keys, and then you're just going to make it the right size. Okay, let me hide my guides again, this is a bit easier for you guys to see. And I'm just going to move it down a bit, and as you can see, like I said before, you're not going to see these steps, so it really doesn't matter about those. And as you can see, we've got our car in, and it's not looking too bad so far, but it really doesn't look realistic. It literally looks like it's just been put there, like it literally has. So we need to make it look a bit more realistic like this by adding the shadow, and it's actually really easy to do that. So what we're going to do is we're going to click on the layer below our car, sorry, and then make sure that our fill color is black, just like that. And then I'll go to my shape tool and then make it ellipse. So just do that, and then I might want to zoom in a bit just so you can get it exactly the way you want. And I'm going to show my guides again just so I can get it in the center. So then I'm going to click and I can drag. If you hold Alt while you do this, you can drag from the middle, from the center, and it's a lot easier to do it that way. So we might just click, drag, just like that, and make sure that our fill is black, and then we don't have a stroke just like before. And then we're just going to click and drag upwards, or we can use our arrow keys just to be a bit more precise. And if we did still want to change it, we can press Command T, and then we can just drag it up a bit, and yeah, that'll be fine. Now as you can see that we have got a random ellipse tool under our car, and now we need to make that into a shadow, and it's kind of the same process as we did for the corner as at the very start of the tutorial. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to Filter, Blur, Gaussian Blur, and click Rasterize, and now we can just rasterize it to however to however much we want so that it looks realistic. So I think you don't want it to be too faint, otherwise it kind of looks like the car's hovering like that. It kind of looks like the shadow is on the floor while the car is hovering. So you don't want it to blur it too much, because you still want it to be very dark. And now, okay, I think 5 is okay. So now we're going to press OK, and now I'm just going to move it down a bit, just using my arrow keys. And okay, I think that'll be good enough. And then as you can see, we now have a shadow for the body of the car, and now we need to do it for each wheel. So what we do is we go back to our ellipse tool, and then just click, hold Alt, and then make sure it's the same size of the wheel, just like that, and then just move it up, just so it's like right under the wheel, just to make it as more like we're trying to get it as realistic as we can. So now we're going to go to Filter, Blur, Gaussian Blur, and it's gonna ask us to rasterize it again, so just do that. And it's gonna, I think I'm gonna blur it a bit less this time. Actually, you might, yeah, okay, I think it's good. And then we can just use it, move it again using our arrow keys, and yeah, now it's starting to look really realistic. And then we can just hold Alt and just drag it across to the other wheel, just like this. If you hold Shift as well, it will do it in a straight line, and you'll then put it into place. And there you go. You can see that it's actually really starting to look really realistic. And I think I'm still going to move this body shadow down a bit, so I might just drag it out just a bit more, and then I'm going to move it up. And there we go. I think that looks a lot better that way. And yeah, so now that we've done that, all we need to do now is add the logo and then add these text and these lines. So yeah, so to do that, we're just going to, what I usually do to get logos, if I want the Ferrari logo, I'll just type in, well, if it's a car make, I'd put badge instead of logo. So I put Ferrari badge PNG, and you can see that we get a version of the logo that has a transparent background, which is what we want. It makes things a lot easier to work with. So just going to click on view image, and then we just save to downloads or wherever. You could just copy image and then press Command V while you're in here, and there you go. You can see that it pastes it right onto the design. And I think it could look pretty cool just in the background behind the car, but I like to make it a lot smaller and just move it up just like that, just to make it look like it's on the wall, if that makes sense. And we can make sure it's centered by pressing Command colon and make sure that it's in line just like that. And now I'm going to make the badge white, just like the car and like the advertisement, just to match the theme. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to press Command U and then turn the saturation right down, and then we're going to go to our adjustments tab again, press brightness and contrast, and then we're going to right click on the brightness and contrast and press create clippy mask, just so it goes, so everything we do to the brightness and contrast only affects this badge. So now what we're going to do is we're going to use this slider up here, and we can just increase it to however much we like, and I think that's good, just to make the badge white, and it looks a lot better that way. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to lower the opacity of the badge, just to kind of make it fade into the background, and just to make it kind of makes the whole design a lot more clean. And yeah, I prefer it that way. And yeah, so now that we've done that, we've added our car, we've added the badge, and we've added the room around it, and it's actually starting to look really cool. And now I'm going to add some information lines. So as you can see, this is a cool way of presenting your information, and like, I don't know a way of explaining it. It kind of makes it look high tech, just kind of makes it look like the lines are coming out from the car, and it looks really cool. So yeah, I'm going to show you guys how to do that. So first off, we're going to do is we're going to go to our brush tool, which is right here, and then we're going to right click and make sure that our size is 6 pixels and our hardness is 0. You could put it on 100, I suppose, it doesn't really matter. Actually, I think I'm going to put it on about 50%. Okay, that's good. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to click below my car. So you want to find your car layer, which is right, actually mine's at the top, so it doesn't really matter. You just want to make a new layer and make sure that it's below our car, just so that when we make the lines don't show above the car. And yeah, so you want to make sure that our foreground color is a black. Then go to your pen tool by pressing P on your keyboard or over here. Then you're going to click, I like to hold shift just to make sure that the angles are within 45 degrees, and I think it looks a lot cleaner that way. And so yeah, now we've done this line literally just by clicking and holding shift. So now what we're going to do is we're going to hold we're going to right click, press stroke path, and then we're going to make sure that the drop down menu is on brush, and you can stimulate pressure, although I think it looks better without. And you're just going to press OK, and there you go. You can see that we've made this line, although it is really black. So what I might do is I might press Command U and then make it a little lighter. Actually no, it's not it's not saturation, it's lightness. So there we go, you can just move that up a bit. Okay, I think it's good. And yeah, it kind of just suits the whole theme of the design that way. And now what we could do is press T on our keyboard to use our text tool and just click, and then I just put in text, or well, I would actually put the actual information about the car there, but for now, for the sake of this tutorial, I'm just going to put text there, just because I don't actually have any text to put there. And yeah, so now we've done that, we're going to select our whole text, click on this box up here which has the color, so you can change the color, and then we can just click on the line, and then it basically copies the color that the line has and puts it on the text. And yeah, just so they're matching. And now what we're going to do is we're going to right click, we're not going to right click, we're going to select both of our layers, which has the line and the text. We can just hold Alt and just click it and drag it over to this side so it duplicates it. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to select just the line and go to Edit, Transform, and then Flip Horizontal, and then we can just match that up to the car, and then we can move our text over a bit. And yeah, it looks really cool. It's a really cool advertisement, and you don't have to use this on cars, obviously. You can do this for multiple different products. But yeah, that's this tutorial. Thank you guys for watching. If you did find it helpful, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in my next video.